Hello, I'm so glad you could join me today for this webinar. And please stay tuned until the end. I would love to share with you a little bit about my upcoming masterclass. So let's get going. Thank you for joining me in this webinar, How to Boost Your Self-Confidence as a New Mom. Over the next few minutes, I will share with you 5 tips on how to boost your self-confidence. But before I do, let me introduce myself. I am Marie Janelle, and I've been an early childhood mental health consultant for over 20 years, and I have over 35 years of motherhood experience. This topic is so important to me because I can identify. I was once a new mom who felt insecure and who felt alone and was trying to figure out the whole motherhood journey. So I would love to share my story with you and share some tips on how to be a more confident new mom. You see, my motherhood journey started years ago. I was married at 20 years old, and by the next year, I was a new mom. I had a beautiful baby boy, but I did not know what to do. I was excited and terrified at the same time. And by the time I was 28, I had 4 children, almost 2 years apart on average. I had 1 son and 3 daughters, beautiful children, but I was a super young mom and still figuring it all out. I had so many mixed emotions. I was happy and excited, and I was overwhelmed at times. I felt stressed, I felt tired, I felt nervous, I felt insecure. I just didn't know what to do all the time. And I was a stay-at-home mom, so I got a chance to be with my children and to invest in them and be in the home with them and to be engaged. But it was still a very scary time. It was very new, and I felt alone a lot of times. I didn't have a lot of friends who were in the same situation I was in. I had some who were married and some single, but not many had children, especially 4 children at home the way that I did. And most of my friends worked outside of the home. So I felt alone at times and very insecure. And I just know what it's like to be a new mom. So I would love to share with you some of the tips that helped me to be more confident as a new mom. Okay, tip number 1, boost your baby knowledge. The more you know about babies, the better care you'll give. So the more you know about why babies do what they do and how they grow and develop, the better you can care for your baby, the better you can take care of when it's time for feeding your baby and bathing your baby and diapering your baby, and when it's time for babies to sleep and how they sleep. The more you know about babies, the better care you'll give. You can get this knowledge through baby classes, also through books on child development and learning about the serve and return theory. There's brain development. A lot of brain growth happens in the first 5 years of a baby's life, and learning about what happens during that time will help you give better care and make you feel more confident. There are articles and magazines, there's podcasts, there are lots of videos, there's advice you can get from moms and family and other friends. There are professional child care givers and child care providers you can get information from. There are lots of ways to increase your knowledge of babies. That's one of the best ways for you, first of all, to feel confident in what you're doing if you know more about babies. So that's the first place to start, babies. So I can relate to this tip of boosting your baby knowledge. I mentioned earlier that I got married at a young age, and at 21 I was a new mom. And during that time I was also an early childhood major in college, and I had some knowledge of babies, and I was the babysitter of my family. I have lots of cousins and I babysat. So I had some knowledge of children and babies, but I wanted more, so I went to the library back then, and during those times we didn't have the internet that we have right now and cell phones and all the conveniences, so you had to go to the library to check out books and to make copies, which I did. I read a lot of information that I got on babies and development, and one thing I learned in there that it was so important to talk to your baby and to interact. And as an extrovert, that's something that came easy for me to do, was to be able to talk. So I talked to my babies all the time. I sang to my babies. I read books with my babies. I played with them. Everything that we would do, I would label and talk about. I would talk when I changed their diaper. I talked about what I was doing. When we were feeding, we talked about the food we ate. And even though they were 6 months old or a little older at times, I would describe the food to them. We would talk about the colors. They would make noises. I just really wanted to interact and be there because I knew how important that was because of the baby knowledge I have gotten from reading books and from family and friends. So I just want to encourage you to take time to just increase your baby knowledge in that area. It will definitely pay off. And I do have to say that my children are all adults now, and they've benefited from all my words and all my interactions with them. My son has graduated from Harvard Law School, and I have two daughters who have graduated with master's degrees in the social service field. I also have one of my youngest daughter attended Berklee College of Music in Boston. So all those interactions and knowing about baby development paid off. So I want to encourage you to increase your knowledge. So let's move on to tip number 2. Talk with experts. Talking with professional child care development experts is a great way to get information and to boost your confidence. There are great caregivers there who you could talk with to get information on child development and different things that go on in a child's life. But one expert I'd like to highlight would be pediatricians. Pediatricians have a wealth of knowledge when it comes to child development. Pediatricians are not just only there for checking your child's health and making sure they're growing properly in their physical health, but they're also there to give advice to you as parents on child development tips, from anything from the gross motor skills of your baby and what they can do physically, also their fine motor skills, how well they're grabbing things and being able to be precise. They give information on cognitive development and the things that children should know and be able to do and be able to relate to. They give information on communication skills, how your child is able to hear and to speak and to babble and to try to talk as they're really tiny. They give help on social emotional skills with their social skills with each other and their emotional skills as far as how they can get their needs met and be able to self-regulate. There are so many great things you can get from a pediatrician by asking questions. So if you're with a doctor and with your pediatrician, please use that resource. Let their knowledge and their expertise help you to be more confident in your skills. So if you have questions throughout that time before you see the doctor, please write them down so when you get there, you don't forget and you can ask the questions. You can also, if you're pregnant and you're about to have the baby, it's a great time to actually go find a pediatrician. It's a great time to write questions down that you have from the books that you read or from people you talk with. And if you have questions, ask the pediatricians. You can vet them and find what pediatrician will work best for you and your baby. Making sure that your philosophies line up, making sure that pediatrician will support you in the things that you're trying to do with your baby and you plan to do, from breastfeeding to bottle feeding to whether the baby should sleep with you at night or in the crib, or how soon to toilet train. I mean, there's so many different questions out there to ask a pediatrician with help for, so they definitely are there for that. There's also help you can get or expertise in joining moms groups, and different groups have different experts in the groups, and so that's a different way, a good way of getting talking with experts. You can also hire or get a mom coach, somebody who can coach you with the tips and ask questions and help support you in that way as far as expert advice. Personally, for me, I really loved my pediatrician that my children went to. Her name was Dr. Graham. She was one of the best pediatricians around. I highly came to value her input and her direction that she gave, and she would give me advice on some things I didn't know to ask, she would tell me about, and things that I did have questions on, she answered, and she was a great resource. I could call her in her office, and her nurses at times if she was busy, would answer, and they would return the call and give me information. So that was a really support for me, and I was really insecure, like I mentioned earlier, but I was able to get tips from her that really helped to build my confidence. Also, another expert was out there was my children's toddler teacher. As being a young stay-at-home mom, I knew the importance of my children getting that socialization at 2.5 and 3 years old before they would go to kindergarten. So they went to a part-time, 2 days a week to a toddler group. And the one teacher who my daughters love, Miss Sandy, she was excellent. She was so good with them. I learned so much from her too. As an expert, I learned better ways to communicate to my children and how to talk to them. And I would watch her in the classroom and how she dealt with the children. And I was so impressed that she really influenced me at that young age. And so I'm so thankful to have that expert in my life at the time. So experts, talking to experts is a great way to build your confidence. Okay, let's move on to tip number 3, positive self-talk. This is so important, so important. And self-talk is just that inner conversation that we have with ourselves. And there's research has shown that we believe more of what we say out of our mouth than what other people say about us. So what we hear ourselves saying in our ears, what we say, we believe that more than what someone else is saying about us. And it's really important that we encourage ourselves like we encourage other people. It's like some of the things we say to ourselves are so negative, and we wonder why we feel down and we feel insecure and we feel like we can't make it. It's because we say those words out of our mouth. I'm a firm believer in cognitive behavioral therapy, and that's part of my counseling background. But that really just means that our thoughts affect our behavior, which also affects our emotions. So the things that we think about and the things that we say will determine and will have a correlation to how we feel and how we behave. So it's really hard to have a positive life having negative words. Like, it's really hard to have that positive life with negative words. And what we think about, we bring about. So I'm a firm believer that it's really important what we say to ourselves, and that our mindset is so important that if we really feel we can't make it, then that pretty much is true. We won't be able to make it. So in order to move forward, in order to feel more confident, we really have to change what we say and change our language. I look at it as like brain food. Like, what do you put in your brain? What kind of things are you thinking about? What do you put in your mind? Are you putting a lot of doubt and worry, a lot of sad songs or narratives that are negative? Are you listening to a lot of negative words from other people? Are you responding to those and regurgitating those yourself? Like, all those things are going to weigh you down and make you feel insecure, make you have a hard time moving forward. But if you find ways to encourage yourself and have positive things, to look at the brain food, look at what you're feeding your brain. Positive books. Books are a great way. Different things you meditate on, different things you think about. Devotionals are a great way to start off and to be positive. For those of us who are spiritual, the Bible is that. For me, it is. There's lots of verses and scriptures that encourage me, that I can think about, that help me to feel better about me and help to build me with confidence. Affirmations are a great way to increase your positive self-talk. And sometimes just saying the words out loud you may not feel it at that moment, but the more you say that, the more you increase those affirmations, the better you'll feel, the better you will behave. Your behavior will change. And here's a few positive affirmations that you can say. You can say, today is a new day. Today is a new day full of promises. You can say that each day is a new start for me. You can say that I am a good mom. You can say that this may be hard, but I can figure it out. I use that a lot. You can say, motherhood is challenging at times, but I can do hard things. You can say, I can do it. How about, I can do hard things? I am beautiful. I am kind. I am patient, especially when you're not patient. Say that a lot. I am patient. I have great patience. And even though this is hard, I'm going to stick with it. I am patient. I am loving. All those great things to say about yourself can really do that. One I really say a lot for me is, I'm smarter than a 5th grader. I say that a lot. There are times when things are tough and hard and are challenging. I just say, I can do this. I'm smarter than a 5th grader. And that sometimes helps me to move along. So like I said, that's one of my superpowers, is that I'm an encourager. I love to encourage people. I love to help them feel better about themselves. But sometimes in the past, I didn't do that for myself. I would be too hard on myself. I would be discouraging at times. But I've learned over the years that it's okay if I make a mistake. It's okay if I'm not perfect. And I didn't realize how much of a perfectionist I used to be, and at times still am. I have to work on that, to be honest, and I use a lot of self-talk even now to encourage myself, like, hey, it's okay. I made a mistake. It's not the end of the world. I can fix it. There's help out there. So I want to encourage you to just really think about some of the things you're saying to yourself and how you can change your language and how you can use positive self-talk to help increase your, to boost your confidence. All right, let's move on to tip number 4, find your tribe. This is a great one too. Finding your tribe or finding support and encouragement is so key to feeling confident in what you're doing as a new mom. You definitely need to have people around you who can encourage you and remind you that it's going to be okay. So finding that support group, you can check churches or community centers or child care centers sometimes have lists of different moms groups around. And if you can't find a mom's group, just finding 1 or 2 seasoned moms, moms who have been, who are more experienced than you are a good source of support and encouragement. Sometimes we all struggle at times and we all need help and support. And just having that group around you or having a few people who you can depend on just helps to bring a little bit of, just like I say, strength, and helps you to keep going and help you to know that you can do this and it's going to be okay. And moms groups are so great for solidarity. They're great for listening to you as you talk and you're able to share your heart and your struggles and to find different tips and solutions on things. It's also good to listen in those groups because you get a chance to hear other moms struggle. And you hear their struggles and you realize that, hey, that normalizes your struggles. And it also helps to have that kind of solidarity that there's somebody else out there going through what I'm going through, and I'm not alone. And this is not. I think that's one of the myths of motherhood is that we're alone and our problems are just no one else has ever experienced what I have. No one else has ever had a crying baby who wouldn't stop and not know what to do. That everyone else is figuring that out but me, and that's a myth. That's not true. Everyone has had times of a baby that's crying and not knowing what to do and exhausting all their tips of, all their tricks of what to do and still can't help it. Everyone has had a time of a baby who was sick and or didn't feel well and not know what to do. I mean, all those kind of things are common in motherhood, and in support groups and finding your tribe, you can find lots of strength and encouragement that will definitely boost your self-confidence and help you feel better as a mom. I know for me, back then when I was young, I mentioned earlier, there was not a lot of my friends or my girlfriends who were in the same situation that I was in. Some were married and some were working outside the home, but not many had small children at home, and not 4 small children under the age of 8. I at times felt alone, but I have to say I had lots of encouragement still. I had my mom and my grandmother who were young moms themselves, so they understood that the challenge. I had friends and sister-in-laws and aunts who were there who gave me encouragement and support. I even had friends at church who were who I later found peers who were in my same situation. I was able to, they became part of my support group. So I just encourage you to find your tribe, find people who can bring life to you and help encourage you and help remind you that it's going to be okay. And they're always, if you're not able to find someone in your area, like I said, churches or in your community, there's always ways to Google that and to research that and try to find somebody who can help you to feel better about yourself and to help boost your confidence. Okay, let's go to tip number 5. Stay connected to things you're good at. Now, that's one thing to remember. Life before the baby, you remember how it was before you had any children and you were single, you were out there doing things you love and enjoy, whether they were dancing or singing or running or hiking, whatever those things were that you did back then that brought you joy and that you were good at. Reconnect to those things again. Find ways to make yourself smile, to find enjoyment in things. Because sometimes motherhood is hard and it's at times, and it can be, you can feel, like I said, a little insecure or feel just very tired or stressed and those kind of things. If you are able to connect to something that brought you joy, that you felt confident in, that can help you to move past those feelings of that you're just not good at anything. And so I just encourage you to find ways to take a break sometime, whether it's getting a babysitter or your spouse or your baby's dad or some other family member who can watch the baby for a little while you get a chance to reconnect. Even 30 to 60 minutes can be a game changer in how you view things, and just finding those few minutes of joy, it can make a huge difference in your mood. And happy people are more confident people. So if there are ways to find happiness, and just try to really work at that and ask questions, and maybe seek out the moms group or someone who is that person who is there in your tribe that can really help you with finding and reconnecting to things you're good at, and finding hobbies, sometimes hobbies. So maybe you might have a hobby in the arts where you singing or dancing, or interest in playing an instrument. Or if you had that in the past, you can reconnect to those. Or if you are a sports person and hiking or running or Zumba or swimming or any of those things are things you enjoyed in the past, reconnect to those too. Maybe nature is your thing and you're about walking outside and just getting fresh air and going on hiking trails and investigating insects and animals or whatever. Those things are anything that makes you smile and makes you have joy. I guess for me back then when I was a little younger, and my kids were smaller, I enjoyed singing. That was one thing that I felt confident in and that I felt good about, that I could hold a tune. So I was involved in my church choir a lot, and I was make sure I got a chance to sing with them. I went to movies on a regular basis. My spouse at the time, we would go to movies once a week, and I got a chance to get away as the kids got older. Also, I returned to college when my kids were a little older. I went back to school and took one class at a time. That helped to, I felt good about that, and I got a chance to really put a smile on my face and to take care of me and to invest in me. I want to encourage you as a mother to remember that you're more than a mother, though. You're more than a mom. You are a woman. You are a person. You're an individual. And in order to be a happier mother and be a better mother and a better confident mom, you have to reinvest in yourself. You have to find ways to put back into you and to pour back into your cup and to refill yourself so that you're able to give more out to your family and out to your children. Okay, so now that we've went through the 5 tips, I just want to summarize them really quick before we end our time together. We talked about how to boost your self-confidence as a new mom by 1, boosting your baby knowledge, that the more you know about babies, the better care you can give. Number 2, talk with experts, get pediatricians or any other professional child care development person that can help you with those questions you have and to get some answers. Number 3, positive self-talk. So important to what we say to ourselves, and what we think about ourselves will help build our confidence and help determine whether we feel secure or insecure. Number 4, find your tribe. We all need support. We all need someone to be there to help encourage us and to keep us going and moving forward. And number 5, stay connected to things you're good at. Find some way to connect to what brings you happiness, what makes you smile, what makes you feel good about yourself. Those are all great ways to build your self-confidence. So I hope these 5 tips have helped you, and if you put them into practice, they will definitely help you boost your self-confidence. And if you'd like to continue your motherhood journey with me, I would love to support you on that. So I'm going to invite you to join me on my upcoming masterclass called How New Moms Can Boost, Bond, and Build. So you can boost your self-confidence, bond better with your baby, and build healthy connections with other moms. So just click on the link below and follow the prompts, and I will see you there. So thank you for spending time with me. I hope you have a great day, and I look forward to supporting you on the other side. Goodbye.